I want to say that log lines in general suck, and they never really tell you anything that they're all Jim and I have sat there and tortured them to death.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you have
hate
too.
a log line.
Right. And with the reason, so I just want to beat up on your log line for just a second.
Yes, please.
With apologies, not so that we can get a good log line, but so that it already demonstrates an issue with the show. I can guess, because I don't know. What I don't know coming out of that is what the problem is.
It sounds like this is not actually a show, but if it was, a woman moves in with her boyfriend and finds herself falling in love with his lesbian roommate, boom, that's a log line.
That's a
I know
log
what
line.
the problem is.
Okay.
Yeah, because now we want to get the sense that it's ongoing. So the least important thing in that log line, in my opinion, is forcing her to reconnect with an old friend who reluctantly helps her to navigate her sexuality.
Okay.
So a lot of words that don't really tell you much. Of course, she's talking to somebody about what she's going through.
Yeah.
Essentially, right?
And so, by the way, this is one of those things where I think if you get 10 writers, you're going to get 27 opinions. So I just... But the most important thing is, it's not about, for me in the log line, about how she solves her problem or how she figured... That's important for when we talk about the show. But in the log line is just her central conflict. So she moves in an apartment with the man... She finally moves in with the man that she loves. And then, oops, she falls in love with his roommate. His female roommate.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's a big problem.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
Right? It's just less.
And it's an actual, there's a dynamic story engine in that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I understand what the problem is. She's torn between two kinds of love.
Right. And then you're going to say, well, that doesn't tell me the show. And that's what the person who's screaming at me while they're, walking, running, canyon, listening. And I'm like, listen, you're right. It's not the show. But it now makes me want to say to Doris, tell me about the show. Like, how do you make that a show?
That's what a log line is for. It's not supposed to describe the whole show to you. It's supposed to make you go, oh, that sounds like that could be a show. Tell me about it. What is it really?
Like,
it's a tease.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I'm in. It's people, and it's a tough situation.